From the shelter-in-place studio of Leslie Jackson, welcome to The Leslie Show. Todd Huth is the founding guitarist for rock outfits Primus and Porch. He is always chasing his muse, always innovating and exploring the guitar as a tool for creative expression. It's so fun to talk to him about music because he's low-key in spite of his tremendous experience in the hotbed of funk, metal, hardcore, and rock in the mid-1980s. It was really quite a time to be coming of nightclub age in the Bay Area, and Todd Huth was central to it. It's great to hear that he's still making music with some of the same players who were also at the epicenter of what was like a renaissance. In this interview, we talk about early years of Primus and about family life and his advice for kids and some practice techniques. We even discuss what time signature dogs drink water in. There's a beautiful acoustic performance of a song Todd wrote called Wildflower. This show was recorded in Berkeley and Oakland, California in May 2021.
All right, bright and bright, yeah, clean and unseen.
Todd Huth.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. When we ran into each other in Sausalito. Yeah, that was
a really cool moment. Dumb question of the day, right? Have you been in the studio? No one has anywhere else to be.
I've been in my own studio. Well, I figured out a system somewhat to send files back and forth to musicians I know. And I've gotten through about probably through about 15, 20 songs. Half of the people don't even know each other. But it's been an experience. It's been fun. But because I've learned how to run a studio and also pass files back and forth and communicate with people that way. So yeah, it's actually been kind of good being home.
Yeah, I have to admit, I think we talked about this when we ran into each other. I secretly was like, ooh, what kind of projects could I get into? This could be cool.
Right, yeah. Things I've been meaning to do forever. Yeah, because there's these songs that I've had on a plate for, since I was a kid. And I've always wanted to record them and find the time and just kept putting it off because I was either playing with somebody or this and that. And I thought, okay, now's a good time. I'm going to do this so I don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah. Like you mentioned, Porch and all those, the bands I've been in. But most of the stuff I've been doing is either acoustic or very light club type stuff that I've been sending back and forth to people. It's not so much hard rock. There is that though, because one of the projects I was doing was I don't know if you ever heard of the Gits, an old band, an old punk band. I've been working with the drummer from the Gits and a bass player, and we wrote and those are more upbeat rock. So been doing all kinds.
A still kind of trio format though.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It except for one of the projects I'm doing is with, Jay Lane. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of them, he's been doing a lot of the drumming on a lot of this stuff, which is great because he's got his own studio and a drum set up in it. And I'm doing one project with him and Trevor Dunn. You know Trevor Dunn from Mr. Bungle and Melvin's and
not met him. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Eugene Robinson from Oxbow. Oxbow he's a dark fella. And it kind of started out because the song I had was this pretty song, And here, let me show you. It kind of went, can you hear that?
Yep.
Kind of went. Kind of like that.
Pretty.
So I thought, how can I make that a little darker? Because it's more prettier than I'm used to. And so I got Eugene to do it, and man, it came out so good.
Is the album all that kind of flavor? Are you putting an album out, or are you just
No, well,
making music and recording it?
it's just, that's right. Yeah, I'm just making a bunch of stuff, and if I get enough from any group, then maybe I'll put it up online in different categories, that kind of thing. But right now, everything's in the same category.
That's such a different way to collaborate, right? Are you used to playing live in the studio, correct? Would you guys record live?
Yeah. Well, we always did when I was in a band, doing band stuff, and then we'd get in and just go in the studio and know our parts and get in there and turn on the recorder, and everybody just record and do overdubs afterwards, that kind of thing. And yeah, done that for years, but now with all the home studios and COVID and stuff, I had to figure out a different way because, and everybody's busy too. Everybody's doing stuff.
That energy is really different, right?
What's that?
Where the energy between being at home on your home system versus being in person with the clock running in a studio and people partying and people coming and going to visit, and that the sexiness and the environment of a big old, all of the stuff, the board, the chicks, the snacks. Well, that's so different.
Well, I'm missing it. I'm finding I'm missing it. I was kind of looking forward to being home, but now I'm kind of missing being out with people and, and then the clubs. Like I'll smell somebody smoking a cigarette and it'll remind me of a club, and I'll go, oh God, I missed that smell for some reason,
Sweat, someone else's sweat.
That's right, sweat, vomit, maybe, I don't know. So
your feet sticking to the floor.
All the things that you think would be disgusting, and I'm saying, oh, I kind of missed that vomit smell.
Thought I would never. I was curious about this because one thing I notice about Primus, about Porch, about Sausage, there's 3 players. What is the magic of a trio for you?
Less drama. Maybe,
nice.
Especially when you're riding around in a bus or a van, and you can all be quiet, and there's less stinky feet. You got less people to deal with. Also, just there's more room to play. There's more freedom for each individual instrument. Simple, and also I've always liked just being a single guitar player because it always gave me more freedom to do what I want, to play. Lead and rhythm all mixed in with it, and I mean you can do stuff with other guitars. Like I played with Frog Brigade, this band Frog Brigade for a while, which was kind of a Les Claypool offshoot, and there were 6 people on stage, and I was working with these guys on the other side of the stage. For some reason, they were on one side of the stage, and I was on the other side of the stage by myself. And so most of the time, I couldn't hear them. So I would just sit there and do this little rhythm kind of guitar, low sonic thing. And they were doing all this jazz stuff. And then Les said, hey, let's trade. You go over there and have the other guitar player come over here. And I got over there and I went, these guys are way better than me. I don't know what to do with these guys. So, yeah, 3-piece.
I was on a bike tour with some people younger than me, and someone was riding with a speaker attached to his handlebars. And he's listening to some rock and roll, so I caught up with him on the trail and rode beside him for a while and realized, that's fucking Primus, young man. Do you know who you're listening to? It's cute. And then months later, I'm on a different tour, and I catch up with someone else who's got a speaker on his bike, and I go, that's Pink Floyd's Animals, but that's not Pink Floyd playing it.
Yeah, we did a version of Animals live, the whole record.
A version, Todd? That was a scholarly work. I was nailed to that guy's axle, like I just stayed right with him, listening to this lush, beautiful cover of Animals that was as if you guys had written the damn album, but exactly the same, like note for note. And a big fan of Pink Floyd a big fan of lots of music, either wants to hear a better cover or wants to hear the cover played precisely like it was recorded. And when you're a Pink Floyd fan listening to the record over and over again, you want that sound. And it was so respectful of you guys.
Well, we tried. We tried to get it as close as we could, and there's always different differences, but for the most part, we all learn the parts.
So you're working on stuff that's been kind of back of your mind that you've put off getting to work with because you got sort of rudely interrupted by Les Claypool and your friendship. And then, so to what extent did you put aside your own creativity, and to what extent was that a complete mutual union of artistic desire and expression?
Les and I, we knew each other from, about 13 years old. And we went to the same school, and then he left, and he went to a neighboring school, and then I was out of a band. He quit a band, so we got together, and he was doing this crazy stuff, and I was doing crazy stuff, so we kind of brought it together, and it just worked.
Neat.
I mean, it just worked. It was like, I was learning like, flat fists and all that kind of stuff, and doing some weird picking and things like that. And he was, thumping on the bass. And so most of the time, he would bring in a song on the bass that he was working on. And I was always working on songs and stuff. So I would I'd bring my song in and go, oh, that part would work good with that part. And so we would kind of do a dual writing thing. And at first it was him and I. We went through about 1 million drummers, and
it really kind of did suit what you were up to musically at the time. Yeah, because through high school I was in kind of a acid Sabbath band, I guess you would call it. And then, so I was into rock, and Les at that time was doing, at the same time I was doing that, he was doing metal and Motown. He was in a Motown band. And that's where he kind of learned his Motown groove and all that good stuff. And so when we got together, I was going to college, and I was starting to listen to things like Mozart and Bach, and was getting into augmented and diminished patterns and all that good stuff. And so Les came in, and so he started playing these funk things, and I went, okay, I'm going to try and fit this Mozart, Bach, and I was doing country at the same time. I was like doing Mozart, Bach, that theory, and then country. I was trying to get these two extremes out of it. I was making up my own theory, like going up, getting two extreme musics and seeing how I can fit them together. And so that process kind of, with the acid Sabbath stuff, kind of came in and worked with his funk metal playing. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Cool. And then were you formally trained on guitar or in theory, or was this all from picking the needle up and putting it back down again for you?
Both. It was both. I started when I was probably about 8, and I took folk lessons is where I started. And, I'd do stuff like, oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling, time, time, all that stuff. And then after that, I got into school and hanging around friends, and I got into a cover band, and we played weddings, and we played all the pop songs. And then in high school, I got into we did our own music. And then in college, I went out and started taking more theory, and I took lessons in between all that stuff. And so it was just kind of a conglomeration of influences.
When you were beginning, did you have routines for practicing and getting your technique and speed up that you still use today? Do you have a practice routine?
Not so much today. Well, not as much. Not as much of a practice. Now I sit down and play songs. Where I do, I still do experiment a lot now, where I'm going through, or I try mix patterns and all kinds of stuff. And at the beginning, it was more finger exercises. Which sometimes I got to get back into again, because I start forgetting where my hands are supposed to go on the guitar, and I go, okay, I better do that exercise and get that going again. But like there was a chromatic scale one, where you go up and down each string back and forth just to get your fingers dexterity and going back and things like that, and learning patterns, and I'm going up and down the scale 1 million times, and I was pretty obsessed at for a while there. And then I would go in and learn the diminished stuff, and I was constantly just doing all that stuff. And then I'd think I'd start having it down and thinking, okay, I got this licked. And then somebody would come up and like Les would start playing this funk stuff. And I go, I've never played funk. I don't even know what's going on here. I got to learn that now.
Whole another world.
You know, so music's great for that.
What about right hand? What did you do for your right hand and speed?
Well, the right hand, let me see, because the left hand I was doing patterns and stuff like that, and the right hand, like I'd focus back and forth. Like sometimes I'd focus on my left hand and I'd do my right hand, and there were different techniques that different teachers taught me, but in the best one turned out to be just going back and forth on the string, you know, where you're going, back and forth, right? And I would do this thing too where I'd try and hit it as hard as I could. You know, for a while, this was when I was in Primus, I would do this thing where I'd go, okay, I'm going to try and do this and hit the strings where you're going like that, and it gave it a different feel, you know. And so there were just all kinds of things that I was kind of farting around with.
Were you practicing with a metronome as well?
No, I wasn't. And that's a good question, because when I remember, I'm kind of a stubborn person. So, and within school, everybody was supposed to be learning with a metronome and keeping time and playing 4/4 and 3/4 and learning all that stuff. And I thought, you know, I'm going to play in one. That's what I thought. I'm going to play everything in one and just kind of figure out how it feels first before I put a time signature to it, which was kind of good and bad, because I'd come up with all these weird things within a song, which would kind of roll over after, like, you know, somebody's playing 4/4, I would play a bar of 12 and it would roll around again after, you know, while other people were playing, and, you know, they're rolling around on 4. So, but then what happened was when you make songs and you start showing songs and you can't nail down a time and play it over and over again, and you know, my lack of doing that basically made it so I wouldn't play things consistently. So I started doing that, and I'm glad I did it. And, you know, but then when I started learning to a metronome and putting things in time and counting things, and I'd show up and show, this is what we're doing, and it made things a lot smoother and easier.
It's called getting along, Todd.
Yes, it is. It's called not expecting people to do the impossible, is what it is. It wasn't impossible to me because I wrote it, but it's impossible. Yeah, I mean, I'm going, why can't these people learn this? And it's like, and then, you know, I started, but with Les, it was easy because, you know, he'd come in with a part, and usually everything was in 4/4 or 3/4, and he would come in and he'd play this thing over and over again the way it was done, and I could just concentrate on fitting my thing in it. So I didn't learn that lesson when I worked with others. I thought maybe, you know.
Were you guys aware at the time of what a hotbed of amazing musicians, virtuosic punk rock, heavy metal, funk, what a time?
Yeah, that was something else, huh?
Landed in and created.
Yeah. There was, oh my gosh, there were so many musicians, you know. Yeah, and there was competition. People were competing about.
I hope so.
A lot of egos, you know, people bouncing. Me too, egotistical as an MFer. But, you know, as I get older, I look back and I realize just how many people were devoted to learning their craft and their instrument, and it was a good time.
Neat.
And then I learned about your situation. You invited me to go to Camp Lark some years ago, and we ended up there, and I learned a lot from that too. I just kind of watched mostly, you know, all the pickers and grinners going back and forth and different kinds, and you were doing your Irish jig.
Yep. Foundation of my musicianship.
That was something.
I was really happy to show you that world. Yeah. So
that was a different world. That was a different world I was exposed to at that time. I knew that world existed, but I'd never been thrust into it. And so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I got a couple songs that I've written in Dad Gad, and that was actually something that I think that you passed my way.
No shit. That
the
open
Dad
tuning
Gad
Dad.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got a couple songs in that.
Way to go, Les.
I've been playing forever, and then I got to get down somewhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wondered if during the Primus years, and even after for yourself, as you started to play larger and larger shows, did the culture itself start to impose upon you how you were going to be? Or did you feel like you had total creative freedom the whole time? Like you began breaking rules, but breaking them together and becoming really amazing at your art and defining the genre as well as kind of pushing the envelope constantly.
I was kind of in Primus during the trenches years, and then I quit, and then Larry started playing guitar. We were doing Primus for about 6 years, and then I had a kid, and I was trying to work and also have a job, and realized, okay, I got to be home. So, Les basically asked me if he could use the guitar parts for all those songs, and I said sure, and then. So I sat down with Larry and showed him the parts and all that stuff, and away they went. So, it was tough, but it was what it was. So
it was a decision that you made.
Yes, that's right. And so I wasn't influenced by the fame that much. Not until later when we did Sausage and all that kind of stuff, because 6 years of, like I said, playing in those cigarette vomit laden clubs, and that's where the Primus Sucks thing came from. Was because people really literally thought we sucked, because they would look at us and they would go, "What are these guys doing? What the hell are they doing?" And you guys suck. And so Les cleverly kind of grabbed that and went, "We're Primus, and we suck."
Do you give the people what they want, or do you keep on striving to be who you are?
Yeah, I mean, I have that personality where I just kind of always strive for the next thing and stuff like that. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because a lot of times when you're in a group, it's better to be consistent for you to be noticed. And the industry kind of lends for people who are consistent and putting out the same type of material all the time. And I've always tried to figure out new stuff and push borders, which it's a good and a bad thing, because it can, if you keep going and changing, people look at you and go, well, he used to be good and he's not anymore. So, and it's all because you just changed the style of music you're doing.
Right. And then to be caged by that hit song, we can name a couple of bands right off the top that you shared a stage with that wrote one song and then just kept on playing that one song.
Because you get known for something, and that's what people want to see.
I am more inspired by someone whose creativity I know I'm watching.
Yeah, I mean, that's a different story, right? Improvisation, because I've been in bands where you just play the same thing and you get through the song and you go on to the next song, and yeah, because you need a band where everybody can improvise. It can't just be one person, unless you're Jimi Hendrix, and then you have a band backing you up and you can solo. But and again, usually people like that, you have to deal a little bit more with personalities and egos at the same time. So, like, what did you do there, and why did you do that? I didn't do that, and so you're kind of butting heads that way.
Yeah. Right. It's easy from my perspective to feel that way.
Why is that?
Well, because I'm a side man. I'm a percussionist.
Oh, right. Oh, you're a percussionist? Oh, I have something to say to you. You're percussionist. Or maybe I don't, because I haven't figured it out. I haven't figured out the problem.
Maybe because there isn't one.
Yeah, there is. I think maybe this is the only thing I can think of or maybe not all percussionists, but drummers, maybe they're hitting that snare constantly and something in the inner ear tweaks and goes off balance. I don't know what it is. So,
it knocks those screws loose.
Yeah, something.
What about lyrics? Lyrics come to you? Do you write?
Yeah. Making sure I'm in tune here. Like there's one song that goes, let me see if I can get through this. It's a new song. You told me she could see it. I broke every original sin. If I could only remember who's a lover or a friend. And I lay down with her now, ask her where I begin. She says there's a cold wind telling you where it's all going. She came in like a wildfire on a strong summer breeze. She wrote the sky and the stone. I saw her falling through the leaves. I told my soul a long time ago to go where the flowers grow so slow. Took my love for a while, and on the road, there I go. Then it turned into a wildfire, burned down to the black earth. And I took her love for a while, and on the road I go. Figured I'd just keep going. I started playing it, so.
Didn't see that coming. How beautiful, Todd. How gorgeous. Beautiful lyrics. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. So that's the kind of stuff that I put off a long time putting out, that I've been writing for a long time. So I thought I'd get all that group stuff together, and Jay's been helping me out with that kind of stuff, and there's a girl singer that I got that does backups, and yeah, it's been fun.
I'm stunned. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for continuing to play that. Yeah. Stump the interviewer.
Oh, thanks.
You've got kids. What advice do you give young people coming up in music today? What, if you were stuck giving advice?
Yeah, get off your phones. Yeah, get off your computers and phones. That's a distraction, you know. And there's a lot you can get from that stuff. Like you look up and you can get all kinds of music from it and things like that. But when you're sitting down with your instrument and you're playing and then you're looking at your phone, looking at your phone, it just takes so much time away from what you could be doing. And you know, that might be coming from an old guy.
It might.
You know, which I don't know, but
And
I find that I've gone through, I mean, when, you know, I do that. I've done that where I'm playing my guitar and then I'll look at my phone to see what's going on and stuff like that. And I realized how much it was taking from it. And so all the projects I've been trying to do, and then I'm looking at this stupid thing.
take it from an old man, kids. It's so...
From an old man.
We really start to realize the most valuable thing I have is time. And it's all I have.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no kidding. You go through either brushes with death or eye-opening injuries or whatever, and then you realize that all that stuff had been put aside to get done. Do it now.
If you weren't expressing yourself on the guitar, what do you think would be your medium? And do you have others?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know, Leslie, to tell you the truth. Basically, I've just been playing guitar all my life. And like, Frisia and I, my wife, we got remarried, I'd say about 7 years ago. And we were supposed to say something to each other. And I was like, I don't know what to say. So I wrote a song, and sang that for her instead. And so I thought, why not? That's what I'm comfortable with. Just stick with that. And so how else would I express myself? I'd probably just sit and watch TV. Get depressed.
I would express my sloth.
Yeah, I just started drinking a lot and cussing everybody. Get off your phone.
Thank goodness for the guitar, right?
I guess so. That's what my mom says all the time too. Thank God for that thing because it kept you out of trouble and that good stuff. And yeah, my dad actually he told me a funny thing the other day. He said, I've always been kind of envious of your guitar. And I was like, why would you be envious of me and my guitar? And he goes, because it's kind of funny actually. He said, I asked my parents for a guitar right when I was about 10, 12 years old, and they brought home an accordion.
Oh.
So I thought, in a awful way, that's funny.
Yes, in an awful way, that's funny. So I take it your parents are still living? Are they still together?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're still together. They're still living. My mom was kind of the one that allowed for the music to keep going and guitar to keep going. And my dad was, wanting me to do, he didn't understand the whole art thing really, but he kept quiet and she told him to keep quiet.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah, way to go, Mom.
What did your folks do?
My dad was a pipe fitter,
wow.
Putting in sprinkler systems. My mom was a housewife.
Sibs, brothers, sisters?
One older brother, 2 years older. Lives here in California, and we go hunting together every year. So,
seems like you've been taking advantage of this social downshift that the pandemic brings to work on creative projects. Is this more backburnered stuff for you, or new projects, or?
Well, that's kind of what I'm focusing on now is new projects because the band I was in, Porch, for a long time. We've kind of split apart, so I'm going to keep this going. And see if I can get some shows together with certain people. I'll probably work with Michelle Strand where we do like a duet thing where she's, like the song that I just sang for you.
Yeah.
She actually does a harmony over the whole thing.
Oh, God. How beautiful.
So, yeah, her and I have been working together forever. We just have a chemistry. So I started working with her again on this stuff.
I have to say, I was at all your first Primus shows when you were Primate and you had to change your name, and Peter Libby was your drummer, and then even when Tim was your drummer, because me and my high school friends, we'd all go out to clubs together.
Yes, I remember.
But then there was a time when it was the Primus show, and you could kind of expect what you were going to get. It was going to be funky and hard.
Right.
And artsy and kind of silly. But I was into like New Order kind of stuff I could justify being depressed to.
I could not see you being depressed.
I tried. I was into it. But I fortunately got out of it. But I listened to good music. I mean, it was at least good, dark music. Yeah. And so your Porch material is not depressing, but it does have that kind of satisfying bath of darkness, minor keys.
Oh, yeah. I listen back to the Porch stuff, and I go, it sounds sad to me. Like, I'll listen to it, and I'll go, is it sad music? Am I that sad? And then I'll listen to it and angry. Am I that sad and angry? And I figure it's a collaboration, right? Of everybody. Because you know Chris Fry. You probably worked with him with Dorothy, right?
No, there were no.
No. Oh, he was the bass player, and he's an angry guy. Let's put it that way. So a lot of the anger in Porch came from him. With me, it was the depression too, and a lot of the noodling and stuff like that. And the first record was with Dave Ayer, which he died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Mike kind of took over and did the next couple of records.
Yeah.
And a little different sound. Sound.
Yeah. And virtuosic guitar playing, and really interesting time signatures and all that stuff that makes you feel smart listening to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have been told that I bring in challenging time signatures, because I naturally write better in 3, 5, and 7, and sometimes 9. For some reason, I can hear that better than 4s and 6s.
Dogs drink in 7. You ever check that out? With their tongue, they go lap, 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 lap. Check it out next time your dog drinks.
In 7?
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Check it out. Or sometimes 5, lap, 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 lap. Check it out.
Really? Okay. Yeah, and now that you say that my dog he it sounds like that. It sounds like lap 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 lap. Yeah. Leslie, that's an interesting thing. I never knew that. Yeah, but I mean, I definitely lean more towards the 5s and 7s and things like that. I would concur that they feel more natural, but they really throw people off.
Yeah.
When you're using your brain, it's hard to count. Especially when you got 3 people going in there, and like I said, I do 5s and 7s easier.
Yeah.
And then I'll bring a song in 7, and the drummer will go, I hear the 1 there. And his 1 will be on my 5. When I come in with a song into a band, I don't tell anybody what to play. I don't say this is I don't hear, this is not what I hear.
Nice.
I let them get
That's nice.
their initial part, and sometimes I'll just go with that, and then sometimes I'll say, okay, now you got your part. Can you do this a little bit and change this to that, and that way we can both be happy. Because I like to hear people's take on things. It's more interesting that way than coming in with a full score.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
And then everybody has more fun, and everybody likes the music, and everybody puts in their best. And that's what I try and get out of people when I'm writing music and working with other people. I want to hear their best. I don't want to, dampen them down and,
I have to say, as a percussionist sideman, it wears me out to be told exactly what to play.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's got music in them. All right, girl.
All right, Todd.
I'm going to roll. And,
Okay.
It was very sweet talking to you.
You too. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Todd. This has been so fun.
Yes, stay in touch.
Will do.
Gave me a sign all the time.
You're listening to The Leslie Show.